fact that we finally got the 8-hour workday, right? Okay? Grover Cleveland moved Labor Day away from May, where the rest of the world celebrates labor, and he moved it to September. How many in here knew that? Most people don't. Okay, if you don't know that fact. Labor Day was moved so that we wouldn't celebrate workers' rights with the rest of the world. It's so bad in this country that we can't even celebrate labor with the rest of the world. And it's been that way ever since. That's why Labor Day is in September, by the way. May Day? International Workers' Day? That's what it used to be.
Okay.
Okay, so it's bad enough that we can't even celebrate labor with the rest of the world because the government doesn't want us to do that. That's where we start. I traveled up to Washington, D.C. not too long ago. By the way, I'm so proud of my South Carolina AFL-CIO endorsement. I grew up in Minnesota, all right? Well, my mom, she's chronically ill, lives with me, and she's 70. When we found out about the fact that I got that, we were jumping up and down. I know what an AFL-CIO endorsement means in other places in this country. People might die for that. People fight for that. You see bruises and bleeding people, black eyes, fighting for the right to get AFL-CIO endorsement. So I'm very, very proud of it, and I wear it proudly as a mantle everywhere I go. Workers' rights matter.
Yeah.
Don't they? What happens when we act? In the last year, a couple of things happened in South Carolina when we gathered. That Confederate flag is gone. Why is it gone? Because we gathered. Lee Bright's god-awful bathroom bill got flushed down the drain along with Lee Bright. Okay, but why? Because we gathered. I have been on the phone to every single one of your locals 4 times. I've gotten no callbacks from you. I've called and called and called, and I'm not getting called back. Please, I am standing here. I am willing to go out and stand in front of a tank and put my finger in the nozzle for you.
That's right.
And so are the other endorsed candidates. We're not hearing back from you. Maybe you don't have money. Please, the courtesy of a callback. I talk the Wage Act, Living Wage, Workers' Rights, Employment Non-Discrimination Act. Everywhere I go, I'm not hearing back from you. I'm not the only one. Pastor Dixon's doing the same thing. Mal Hyman's doing the same thing. Demetri Cherney's doing the same thing. We are calling and calling. Call us back, please. I went to IAMAW in Washington, D.C. I went all the way up to D.C. to have an interview with them. Took my 8-year-old daughter with. She did all of our social media for the whole week. My daughter did all of our tweets and posts. It was a lot of fun. I sat down with Mr. De La Fuente in Washington, not far from the Capitol. He said, you know, you don't have a chance. That's why we don't really usually support Southern candidates. I said, how long have you been doing this? He said, 20 years. I said, how many people have come up to Washington in 20 years' time? He said, you're the first. I traveled all the way to Washington, D.C. to get an interview to be told that I'm not viable. I got South Carolina Educational Television telling me and every Democrat in this room we're not competitive. That's why they're not going to air our debate with Joe Wilson. We are politically depressed. That's why we don't gather anymore. Let's face it, we don't do what we used to do.
Sure, you're right. That's all right.
We don't do what we used to do. I was at a rock grave concert for 2 nights in a row in Lexington County. It's an anti-rape. Boy, it was important. It was positive. All these kids, they're all registered to vote. Tattoos, nose rings, 98% registered. But I occasionally would talk to somebody, I'm not voting for you, I'm libertarian. I said, okay, that's fine. You're going to get a drink in there, right? Well, yeah. I'm like, whew, thank God that whiskey's regulated. You're going to get a burger too? Well, thank God it doesn't have maggots. You know why? Because labor worked hard long ago to make sure that Upton Sinclair's jungle was no longer the reality. But we're depressed. What did Steve Spurrier say in his first press conference in South Carolina? He looked the camera right in the eye and said, until you stop thinking of yourself as a loser, you will lose, and I won't win, and we won't win. And we think of ourselves as losers because we're beaten down for so long. We've been beaten down. We've got to get the scraps at the table. Nobody likes the unions in South Carolina. I'll tell you what, here's a hint. Here's something that might help you. I'm giving this to you. Because everywhere I go, people are like, there's so many acronyms. Unions, it's this alphabet soup. It's A, B, Z this and Q, X, Y, that. When you're talking to people outside of the union environment, don't use an acronym. Don't say IBEW. They just shut you off. I'm with the electrical workers. It's a trade. It's an important thing we do. We're critical to life and society and civilization. Don't talk in your acronyms when you're talking the message of unions to others. Tell them what you do, what your guild does. I've gone into so many groups with PhDs, MDs, JDs. Oh, there's more acronyms. All right, educated people. I said, how many union members do you think there are in South Carolina? 50%, without a doubt, will tell me one number. 0. Very, very well-educated, informed people think that there are 0 union members in this state. And they say, oh, because of right to work. Oh, no, that's not what right to work means. We've got to educate people on what right to work means. Okay, we want to get rid of right to work, but they don't know what it means, so they assume there are no... So you know what I said? Well, here's the thing. You can fill Williams-Brice Stadium overflowing with the number of active and retired union members in our state. Use that when you're talking about unions, because the people go, eyes dilate. Whoa! There's a lot of union people. Yes, there are. Now, we might be the worst in the nation for membership, but there are a lot of us. I guarantee you, 60,000 people show up at the State House tomorrow, it will go noticed. I see people that just aren't tuned in yet. I'm not gonna walk off from here. I promise you, Aaron. I'm not walking from this spot until I see every single person here engaged. Why are you here? Well, I just got a nice weekend in Georgetown. I'll see some friends. We'll have some food. There's that crazy guy with that volleyball.
Really?
Why are you here? To grow the what? Say it. Say it. Louder.
Grow labor.
To grow labor.
To grow labor. Why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you here today? Grow labor? Why are you here? Why are you here? Why are you here?
Grow labor.
Why are you here?
Grow labor.
Why are you here?
Grow labor.
What about you, Pastor Dixon?
Grow labor.
All right. Anybody else here to grow labor?
Grow
Yeah. What?
Grow labor!
Imagine 60,000 people at the State House at some point standing up, and I say, why are you here?
Grow labor.
Grow labor. Oh, okay. What do we need out there? What's the Wage Act? Anybody heard of the Wage Act? Boy, we need to pass that. And it's a good thing you got Joe Wilson in office, because he's going to vote yes on that tomorrow. But he's going to vote yes on the Employment Non-Discrimination Act tomorrow.
That ain't what happened.
He's your living wage candidate, right?
That ain't what happened.
Oh, well, let me get that straight. Well, wait, what about Tim Scott?
No.
That ain't what happened.
How about Mark Sanford?
That ain't what happened.
Mulvaney?
That ain't what happened.
Right?
No.
Donald Trump.
Definitely ain't gonna happen.
In China, maybe.
Definitely ain't gonna
Governor
happen.
Haley?
Maybe in China.
We got a problem here, don't we?
Yeah.
We got a problem here because we got
They don't do no
Republicans
work.
in control of the General Assembly, governor, Senate seats. Oh, wait, well, Lindsey Graham's your candidate, right? Oh, okay. So I'm going to conclude with one thing. So I was in Barnwell, and I wanted to get a soda. I was thirsty. It's been a long day. 2 clerks up front, whining. Oh, 7 straight days in a row. I'm just so tired of this. I'm tired. And I can't make my bills. Oh, it's just, life is hard. You know, I got no health care. You know, I got that thing on my leg, and it's just not. And I'm like, I'm paying for the soda. I'm like, you know, I couldn't help but overhear your conversation. I'm running for Congress here in Barnwell. I know you got lots of problems because you lost your only hospital. Barnwell County has no hospital. No hospital. You will die from an asthma attack because the ambulance comes from Aiken.
Gee whiz.
And then it goes back. There was a murder not too long ago in Barnwell, but it didn't need to be a murder. It just needed to be an act of gun violence because the victim could not get back to the hospital. So don't go anyways. There's a problem in Barnwell. There's a problem everywhere. So this clerk, I'm on for Congress, and I'm just curious how you vote. Oh, we're Republicans. We're voting for Donald Trump.
Wow.
Well, that's very interesting. I was overhearing your conversation, and how'd you like to make $15 an hour? Doing what? Doing anything. 1,950 hours a year. That's the average worker's input for a full-time job. 15 times 15, how much is that? 30,000. If you work full-time, you should make $30,000 a year is what living, by the way, that's how you should talk about living wage to people. You should say, don't you think everybody should be making $30,000 a year? That's what living wage is. It's 1,950 hours times 15. Well, I like that idea. Well, how'd you like to have health care? Well, I've got this thing on my leg. I would like to have health care. How'd you like not to have to work 7 days in a row? That would be nice, too. Well, it's too bad you're voting for Donald Trump. It's